Hey everyone, welcome back to Crazy Travels. I'm your host, the Mohawk Traveler. I'd like to welcome to my channel, and real quick, it'd be fantastic if you would hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell for whenever I post new videos. And let's get into it. Today we're going to be going over the top 5 scams in Thailand. For me, I love Thailand. Thailand's fantastic. I've been there several times. I try to go at least once a year, besides this year because of a certain coronavirus. So, been kind of stuck here at home back in Germany, but regardless, I plan on going back there next year if everything's opened up. And for anyone who's new, who's never been to Thailand, who's thinking about going next year when everything's opened up again and you can get back on planes and you can just live your life again, not be stuck in quarantine 24/7, I'm going to give you the top 5 scams that you need to avoid and be aware of when you visit Thailand. So, scam number 1, tuk-tuks. If you don't know what a tuk-tuk is, I'm going to put a little picture up right here. Boop. There you go. That's a tuk-tuk. So tuk-tuks, as you can see, are these little mini taxis, and they're, for the most part, they're very cheap, they're very common, you see them all over the place, and usually you'll see pretty much just tourists riding them because, let's face it, it's made for tourists, alright? It's made for people like you and me who want to go visit this fantastic country, the land of smiles, and just have a fantastic time, but we don't know where the heck we're going. So you get a tuk-tuk, and theoretically, they charge you, it's very minimal. They charge you next to nothing. They take you where you need to get going. But ones that you need to avoid, ones that are in popular areas, so in front of malls, really big hotels, big tourist attractions, you need to avoid tuk-tuks there. Because what will happen is, they'll say, hey, come on, when you want to get going, you say, I want to go to XYZ. I want to go over here. You know, maybe it's not far away. Maybe it's like, you know, a couple kilometers or a mile away. It's not very far. So they say, yeah, come on. They say, yeah, come on. They jump on and then you start driving and you realize, you look at your Google Maps on your phone, you're like, where are we going? I'm supposed to be going that way. Why am I going this way? And the guy says, well, no, we're going to stop here. We're going to stop here. We're going to stop here. And basically what happens is they will take you to clothing stores. They'll take you to jewelry shops. And all these places they take you to, besides where you want to go, all these people are in cahoots. They're all together. They're all in league. They're like the League of Doom, spelled with 10 O's because copyright. But anyways, so they'll take you there, and it's very high pressured for sales. They're trying to push and sell all sorts of clothing on you, and silk and rugs and carpets and just jewelry, silver and gold or whatever. It's basically like going to like a timeshare. And if you've ever been a part of one of those, which I hope you haven't, but if you've ever been a part of one of those, they will just pressure cook you constantly until you crack, until you cave, until you buy. And they'll take you to this store, to this store, to this store, to this store. And more often than not, at the very end, you'll end up back right where you started. Or they'll just drop you off somewhere completely random. You'll say, I don't want to be here. And they'll say, hey, that's too bad. You want to get over here? It's going to cost you more money. And then they'll charge you again to take you to the place you initially wanted to go. And all these extra stops they made along the way that you didn't want to go, they're going to charge you for that as well. So, once again, tuk-tuks, they're fine. They're great. Just don't use the ones in highly touristy areas. Stay away from those. Scam number 2, the Grand Palace is closed today. I personally have been privy to this particular scam, but I was aware of it, so I did not fall for it, neither did my wife. What happens is, when you go to Thailand, they have the Grand Palace, which is phenomenal. It is amazing. Make sure if you're a woman, you're wearing long pants, a long skirt or something. Don't come just wearing your booty shorts, your Daisy Dukes. You know, if you're a guy, don't be wearing your, you know, amazing muscle shirt with your tiny little strap right here showing off your bulging pecs. Hey, that's fantastic. Don't dress like that when you go to the palace. But as you're heading to the palace, you'll be seeing lots of people, lots of natives in the area, and they'll try to scam you. They'll say, hey, where are you going? I'll say, I'm going to the Grand Palace. Say, oh, well, it's closed today. I'm so sorry. But I know a guy who knows a guy who knows the guard, or I know this person, or I know that person, this person knows this person, whatever. They'll tell you that it's closed, they're doing renovations, or this or that. But if you pay them X amount of baht, then they'll be able to get you into the Grand Palace. And you'll be thinking, oh, that's fantastic, that's great. Like, I'm doing a little bit of a sneaky, backdoor way I can get in and see it. That's fantastic because, I'm on vacation, I only have so much time. I'm gonna be out of here. No. The Grand Palace, if you can look up online, it always has opening times and it always has closing times. And as long as you're dressed appropriately, you can go in. And there'll be someone up at the front who you can pay for the admission so you can get inside and take a look at these wonderful sights. It's amazing. I recommend you go there. I really enjoyed it. I was just awestruck the entire time I was there. But don't let someone trick you into trying to sell you a ticket to go in there. So scam number 3, which is similar to the Grand Palace, is closed. The temple is closed today. So you might be in a certain area, might be thinking, hey, I want to go check out this temple. I want to go check out this temple. Because you look on Google Maps and you see, hey, this one's really close by. I want to go check it out. I want to go experience the culture, the whatever, right? So you go in there and then you'll see someone walking along the street. And of course, it's always going to be a native. And most of the time, these people are also, the ones talking to you are also in line with the tuk-tuk drivers. So you go, you're walking down the street and someone says, hey, my friend, where are you from? Now, you can try to pull the card where like, oh, you speak in English. Okay, I'm not going to speak in English. I'm going to speak in German, or I'm going to speak in Spanish, or I'm going to speak in Portuguese. Which, I tried this along with my wife, because my wife is German. I also speak German. I tried this. Surprisingly, these people can actually speak a little bit of a lot of languages. So they'll still be able to communicate with you. So regardless, they'll come up to you and say, hey, where you going? You say, oh, I'm going to go to Temple XYZ. And they'll say to you, oh, no, the temple's closed today. Or what happened with me and my wife, when we went there our first time, someone stopped us on the street, just being friendly. I'm a friendly guy. I'd say, where you going? I said, I'm going to this temple. And they said to me, no, the temple is closed today. And I was like, I don't think so. So I walked down the street a little bit further. Another guy stopped me, asked me where I'm going. So I'm going to this temple. And he said to me, oh, no, you can't go today. The monks are sleeping right now. It's like, okay. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. All right. And then I ignored him. We walked a little bit further. And another guy stopped us. And this guy said, hey, where you going? I said, I'm going to this temple. And the guy said, oh, you can't go today. They're all eating right now. But... and all three of these guys, they all said the same thing. They said, but I have a special offer. I have a temple tour today. And come check it out. We'll take you to this temple, this temple, this temple. And like I said before, these guys walk around the street. They're in league with the tuk-tuk guys of the tuk-tuk scam from number 1. So what they'll do is they'll grab you and they will charge you right there to go to all these temples. Mind you, about 99% of the temples in Thailand are free to go into. And most of the time, all they ask is for a donation. You don't have to donate if you don't want to. I always did, because I'm that kind of guy. But if you want to, you can donate, which helps out the temple, which helps buy food for the monks and the upkeep and the everything, right? But if you go with one of these guys on the street that says the temple's closed, but there's a special deal for these 3 or these 5 temples, come with me. They'll charge you for all 5 temples, and then they'll take you to the tuk-tuk guy, and then the tuk-tuk guy, you have to pay him to drive you, and then he'll take you to this temple, and then he'll say, this one we gotta wait because they're eating right now, so now we're gonna take you to this jewelry store, and then we go back to that temple, and now this one, all the monks are sleeping. That's okay, we're gonna go check out this clothing outlet, we're gonna do this, and then we'll go back to that temple. So just remember that the temples are usually always open for the most part, and 99% of the time it's free entry. You just have to do a donation. That's it. So scam number 4 is the taxi scam. Now the taxi scam, it's similar to the tuk-tuk scam in a way, but instead of taking you here and there, whatnot, they're just gonna charge you a huge amount of money to get to wherever you gotta get going, right? And let's say you gotta go to the airport. Now the taxi scam, most of the time you will see in front of big hotels, big fancy hotels. Mind you, I've never been to these hotels because for me and my beautiful wife, we're backpackers. We stay in homestays, we stay in hostels, we always go on a budget. In the future, I'll be making a video on how you guys can do that as well because trust me, my wife, she is a genius when it comes to traveling on a budget. She finds us the cheapest tickets, the cheapest stays, the cheapest everything, and we barely spend any money when we go over there. Usually the most expensive thing is the cost of a ticket. That's it. And usually I get a tattoo at the end. That's also a little bit pricey, but that's for another video, not right now. But the taxi scam. So if most people like, hey, I'm not a backpacker. I don't love that kind of lifestyle. I like the more luxurious things, or maybe like I'm a little bit older and I don't do that stuff anymore. I want to have a nice bed, a nice shower, somewhere that's relaxing. Hey, I understand completely. You do you, it doesn't matter. But what does matter is being scammed. And most of the time in front of these hotels, you'll see a bunch of taxis parked. Some of the taxis do belong to the hotel. Some of them don't. When you go to the hotel, if they offer you a shuttle or a taxi ride to the airport or wherever, make sure you get to meet the driver or you have someone from the hotel physically bring you to that taxi. Because if you don't, you just assume, hey, this taxi part of the hotel, it has to belong to it. You can assume that if you want, but the problem is these taxis, first off, when you get in, either the little meter, the little ticker that says that we're going to charge you X amount baht for X amount of kilometers we traveled, or miles. It will either be off or it will be broken. And they will charge you anywhere from 2, if they can get away with it, up to 5 times more than what it normally costs. And to give you an idea, normally taking a taxi in Bangkok and you're going to go to the airport, it's usually around 200 to 350 baht. And if you get one of these taxis, it's going to cost you, it's going to cost you somewhere between 500 to almost 1,000 baht, which is a lot of money in Thailand. So just be wary of the taxis in front of hotels. If you are staying in a hotel, just make sure that that if they arranged it for you, that someone from the hotel actually brings you to the taxi person. And when you get in, make sure and ask that the meter actually works. Scam number 4 to avoid is the "you bumped me" scam. Be careful of this one. Thailand people are friendly. I've made lots of friends in Thailand. The locals are amazing. They're nice. It's just a really great place. But like in any country, there's always someone out there looking to take advantage of tourists. And especially when you visit Thailand, you're coming from a Western country to an Asian country, there's a huge probability that you're not going to speak any other language. You're not going to understand it. I'm in that boat too. Well, I learned a little bit of Thai. I've learned a little bit, but regardless, for the most part, you're not going to understand anything, right? And there's always locals in any country you visit who are looking to take advantage of the tourists who are there. And the "you bumped me" scam, pretty simple. And usually it's with an older woman, right? An elderly woman. And how this works is this elderly woman, it could be anyone, so keep your eyes open, right? She'll be walking, she'll have like this big old burlap bag full of rice. And you're walking by her and she will trip into you, hit you, she'll drop the rice everywhere, and then she'll say that you bumped her, and now you are gonna be the one who has to pay for all that spilled rice. And like, trust me, this whole big bag of rice that she just had probably cost something like 40, or maybe it costs, oh, let's say it costs around, we'll say 60 baht, which is roughly €2 for my German friends, and for my American friends it's like maybe about $2.50 or something like that. But she'll say you have to pay for that, and instead of saying it's like 60 baht, she'll say it's 600 baht, and she'll make a big scene and just be yelling and shouting. And especially if there are police nearby, they will believe her over you. Trust me. When you're a Westerner over there, once again, fantastic country, but when the native is speaking with the police officer, she speaks the language of him. You don't. You can't explain your side of the story at all. You know, what are you gonna do? You're gonna have to pay the 600 baht. That's what's gonna happen. How to avoid that? Simple. If you see someone carrying a big bag or whatever, don't get close to them. If they bump you and they spill it everywhere and you know that you're on the right, and they start complaining a lot, you know what you do? Keep walking. Keep walking. Don't stop. Don't stop for nothing. So, for the last scam of today's video, and trust me, there'll be more scams because there are a lot more scams. These are just 5. I will be making another video later covering more of them. But scam number 5 is the jet ski scam. Now, how does this one work? Well, how it works is you go to one of the beaches, one of the islands, and the islands there are amazing. I love them. Personal favorite, Koh Phangan. Fantastic. But you go to one of the islands, you're like, hey, I want to rent a jet ski. They're like, oh yeah, no problem, here you go, here's a jet ski, have fun, and it's pretty cheap. It doesn't really cost that much money for the entire day. So you go, you rent it, you have a great day, you come back, you bring it back on shore, and all of a sudden there's scratch marks everywhere. There's scratch marks all over the place, and they say, you damaged it, you hit all these rocks, it was your fault, you rented it, you're gonna have to pay for it. Obviously, you're not gonna have insurance, right? For the most part. And even if you do have some kind of insurance back at home, they will harass you and make you pay in cash money, boom, right there, right then. That's just how it works. And it sucks because it is expensive. They are going to be charging you, I can't remember. It is a lot of money. You will be paying hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars or euros for this, because if you don't, then they will threaten to bring the police. They'll get the police involved, and that is a whole nother video, which I will be making in the future. So don't worry about that. And more likely than not, you will be forced into paying all this money, and it is terrible. And the simple way to avoid this is either 1, don't rent a jet ski. Just don't do it. But that's pretty boring. Better, go to an establishment that you feel is safe, and when you rent it, just get the person there and say, hey, before I take it out, I'm gonna start taking all these photos. Get your phone out and make photos around the entire thing, top, bottom, inside out, everything. Because what they do is they'll use old jet skis that just have lots of damage already to them, you know, a lot of paint damage. They'll use just normal cheap paint over it. And then when you're in the water, you're going at high speeds, you're in salt water, it erodes all of that paint off. And then when you come back ashore, all of a sudden all the damage is there. It's like magic. So don't do that. just either don't rent the jet ski, or better yet, if you're going to, which is a lot of fun, I enjoyed it, you know, you will enjoy it too, but make sure you take tons of pictures. Make sure you're with the person who owns the establishment or manager or something of that sort, and tell them and show them you're taking all these pictures, so that way they know that you did that because you don't want to get scammed. And if you're at a place and you're taking lots of pictures and they say, no, that's not necessary, you don't have to do that, don't rent from them. There's lots of other people you can go to and rent these boats and have a lot of fun. You don't have to just choose one person and stick with them. If they say no, don't do that, then it's pretty simple that most likely they have cheap paint on their boats and they're going to swindle you out of a lot of money. So I hope that you enjoyed my top 5 scams of Thailand. I'm the Mohawk Traveler. This has been Crazy Travels, and once again, don't forget to like, subscribe, smash that notification bell. I would really appreciate it. I would really like to grow this channel into something really big, so any support would be fantastic.